world of YouTube true crime at there for sight, and did not get to do what I wanted to do today due to bad weather. Gotta love the rain. Rain sometimes ruins everything, but no despair. Still got more stuff to look into. Me, I'm always into this kind of stuff, disappearances, especially when they happen out in the Old West or anywhere near a huge mountain, especially the Green Mountains here in New England. Strolled up into Vermont. This happened into the big old, I believe, Rocky Mountains. And I don't know. I thought I might have did this, but I'm getting lost on videos because I got so many. It stinks. But I mean, if I did, if people start saying I did, I'll just erase it. But I needed this because of the simple fact of what do you really think happened to Dennis Martin, because I like to, always with these ones, boy, and how in just a few minutes someone or something could just disappear. And this family used to do a tradition of camping out in the old Rocky Mountains in Tennessee. And this kid looked at least 6 or 7 years old. So he's there, but he's not there. But he's there enough to make decisions, I think. Especially back in I believe it was, what they say, 1969. Back in them days, if you're not, and who knows if the kid was intellectually disabled, or had some, problems, but back then things were never really, looked at or understood. And if this happened, I would imagine, and I will go on to say that he had maybe some mental health issues. But I won't try to debate the extents of Bigfoot or the hairy thing the other family saw. But I find it very hard to believe that this kid was just randomly snatched up by a Sasquatch. Any good theories as to where he actually went? I think I did cover this, but I think I'm starting. The family, did see something, but I think I did cover this. But anyways, this is another David Paulides phenomenon. Missing 411. Now, whoever don't know or hasn't looked him up yet, supposedly he is by unfan-related people, very unpredictable, or, how should I say this? The best way to put it, I don't know, just being a fake. He does, searching on missing cases. He's even gotten scrutiny for the Maura Murray case. And, I don't know, man. All I do know is that when stuff like this does happen, and of course, the belief of Sasquatch or any super phenomenon creature, of course, no one's going to believe that. But these are the cases I like to say that I like to dive into because I believe they do exist. And because of the simple fact that, right, there's no other explanation that you could find a shoe and a sock, even, and there's one thing I gotta go over in a minute that I don't think I read about, or maybe I did, but maybe someone would, in the military, Green Berets, will help on this next comment if I do get anybody of that nature. But doing a search of 54 miles and finding nothing. And yes, the Green Berets supposedly helped on this case. 1,400 people, I believe, it goes on to say. I mean, I did do an update look into it. And the only other conclusion that I have would be on the last case, the Aura, the guy named Aura, the one that said, the person said they couldn't find, but I found him. But Aura 2 disappeared in the woods. And, near a river bend, a bank. And in the snow were no actual footprints beyond the riverbank. So what would happen? And in that case I was talking about, that's right, mysterious holes in the earth that exist. Maybe I think I'm starting to get a vague, doing this case. Even another person commented on a case. I had to look back into it. I haven't done that yet, but I forgot about it because of all the crap going on in my life. And every day I'm trying to keep my mind focused on new material. But anyways, oh yeah, I know what it was. It's about the kid that said he accidentally shot his friend. I do gotta look back into that, but I haven't yet. I mean, I looked into some of it, updates, but it ain't nothing different that's already been said, but I will be doing another video on that shortly. Soon, whenever I can get the chance. But anyways, like I say with this, and knowing that the kid was playing hide and seek, pretty much to say hide and seek, where I think it said the father was going to go look for the kids and he hid off, and that's when they said they seen him in a distance, or the father did. And the father, when he noticed the kid wasn't coming out of his hiding place, and I believe it does say when the article I read that someone did notice him go over into some trees, but when he didn't come out, the father ran down a trail as fast as he could, thinking, the kid took off. But, right, never to be found. And, of course, he mentions, I think, a hairy thing running. So, with that being said, I mean, don't get me wrong. Maybe thoughts, theories, ideas, nothing in content with the story. Maybe there was a, type of, because of the simple fact to think about, maybe this happened. No one wants to believe the supernatural. But the only other thing I can think of, and this has been done, and I've noticed this, man, and it's just sick to say. And it would be related to, like, the boy in the box. Because he was deformed, because he had some features, because he looked different, strange, act different. Because back then, and he was a very, to say well-known case of being an unknown child is right. No one knows about him. And the thing from that case is I don't think they did enough thorough investigation to look for doctors who worked in the field of asylums. Not just regular doctors, also doctors in asylum. And if there is within that radius, maybe, a asylum, that's why I think that kid in his deformities and things like that, and he was surgically cut and done experiments on, is what is to be believed, because the cuts and stuff were surgically done. But you know what? If you can just imagine how many experiments went on in asylums, it'd make your head spin off your friggin' shoulders and make you sick ill. And it's only the truth, and I think that's what the boy in the box was. Someone gave birth. When he came out looking deformed, oh my God, what the just. And these people probably were at that, level of, say so for laying dummy terms, smartness, not too bright. Them own selves, brought their kid to some doctor, and the doctor said, well, I got this over here, let's bring it to this guy, and ended up in two, and I don't even think a search like that happened. Whether he was working out of his own house, because they did that a lot back in the 50s, 40s, in early on times. Whether or not he worked from his house or there was some, small facility of mental health. That's what I honestly think happened to the boy in the box. So that leads me to this case with this kid. When I look at his picture, I'll have to put a picture up in the thumbnail about this, but he does kind of look hyperactive. I mean, the kid got a big wide smile on his face. And I could say he looks probably the ADHD, and sometimes, like with my youngest son, he's very hyperactive, got mood disorders, stuff regulations, and all this crazy stuff involved with the ADHD. And when he does stuff and laughs and smiles, it's at a nature to where you would think, what the hell are you laughing at this for, type thing. And maybe that kid is the only thing I can think of was out of the unordinary. And maybe, just maybe, the parents and the children around him, thought he was abnormal. And maybe just thoughts, theories, ideas. And if that is the case, back in them days, sucks to say, he got snatched up by some big hairy thing. That's right. Disposed of. Cover up. But I don't, whether or not that kid was buried by the family, or whoever thought the kid was just mentally insane, or whatever the case may be. But when I look at his picture, I do get that ADHD looking hyperactive kid, type thing, with a little bit of deformity in the mind of, being just, what is this kid doing? What is he doing? Do you believe what he just did? What the hell? This ain't right. These kids ain't like that. Person flipping out, thinking, what the hell's wrong with this kid? And finally it comes to the, oh my God, he disappeared and buried him somewhere. That would explain. Now this thing does not say anything about cadaver dogs. No scent of nothing. I don't know if what I covered before said anything, but supposedly we'll lead on to this of, wrong article. One thing about and this is another thing from Reddit, that's always disturbed me, is the most involved of the Green Berets. Now, this is going to be something that I would look from a military standpoint, which would be probably from my man Dave from Vermont, if he watches this, or anybody else in the military who has a military family and knows this very well, about the Green Berets not helping nobody at this time to search for any kid. And that's if you want to read this, and I'll go, and I can keep talking the involvement of the Green Berets. And actually, this guy here says, as my dad and many others have said, Green Berets would not be called out into the national park. But you never know. Back in them times, who knows? A lot of searches back then, I mean, yeah, did involve a lot of the military. I mean, I still think they do. National Guards do come out. But maybe because of time of today, and there's, warheads out there to be looked at, of, attacks, and there's so much chaos going on in this world. Yeah, you can't tie up a lot of the military time. But back then, who knows? I mean, even though the 69, yeah, that was the time of maybe the Korean War, the beginning of that, or the Vietnam War, the hidden secrecy of Laos, Laotians, the Laotian attacks and everything. Everything's mysterious, but even if they did get involved, if they did, and if this is true, that right there, let alone being said, not finding a body unless it was buried by the whoever in the family, and that's the only thing I can say would have happened despite seeing a big hairy creature. But trained people like this, I mean, yeah, but Green Berets are more or less for, a lean, green fighting machine. And maybe, but then again, you got search of enemy, of say under their belt for, if that's the case. Always, out looking for the enemy, of course, being in combat type thing. And searching for a kid would be no different. Just not worrying about someone killing them. But yeah, I mean, this person thinks this is very fishy. But everything around the case is just fishy. And the main thing about this case of the search of 54 miles or something of terrain searched. One of the biggest searches, I guess, at this time. And just finding a sock and a shoe. And the only thing, right, other than I can come up is, yes, that supernatural creature came out, grabbed them, and right where them things are known to run like hell, them things are known to drag bodies up into rough terrain where people cannot get to, or there's the other fact of what's beneath us. And that I'm a huge fan of now. Oh man, when something comes up like this, yeah, it ain't just a search through the woods, through the mountains. It's a search of what's underneath. I mean, don't get me wrong, you have the burial of a child too. But the only problem with the burial is how long it took the family to report this kid missing. And if they reported it right away, I don't think there'd be enough time for this father to bury a kid, unless when he ran down the trail. And that's the only thing I can think of too, is that when they said he ran like 2 miles down the trail. That would give you enough time to do a shallow grave, maybe in a rocked area, and put rocks over it so they don't see disturbed ground dug up. So, but like I say, believe me when I say, I don't take that paranormal, supernatural stuff as a joke. That's always a thought theory idea in my videos and in my knowing about the land, and also the underground, what is beneath us, is another thing I always throw in there. And it's just scary now, man. Very scary thinking about, yes, things that you can get sucked up by the earth because of something under there wanting to take you. Then again, I mean, yeah, it's gotta be supernatural stuff, because the thought of people, going out in the mountains and digging caves or even looking for them, and yeah, that could be possible too. A mountain man type serial killer looking for caves to suck kids in. I mean, that's another possibility. Serial killers like that. But has there ever been the report of a man coming and getting supplies looking rough because he's been living out in the wilderness? Is the question. So there's a lot of things you can think of, thought theories, ideas, but you make sure you gotta have that backup to fulfill what you're thinking of. So, till that next video, be safe, take care, and God forbid if you're out there in the wilderness, watch your backs. Because there's all kinds of stuff, doesn't matter, out there that will grab you. Think about it. It's hard.